Hello everybody, it has been a little while since I have filmed a podcast episode. Actually, it's been a long while, and there's a number of reasons for that. The main one was I wasn't completely sure that I wanted to continue doing actual full-length knitting podcast episodes. I wanted to experiment a little bit with doing shorter, just vlog-style videos. I realized that I just rather missed the actual long-form talking about projects, and I know that those knitting podcasters are some of my favorite things to watch on YouTube. I also realized that I'm getting a little warm, so let's take this off really quick. I decided that I do want to continue filming podcast episodes and in addition to vlogs, because I like both styles very much. The other reasons are that I have moved several times, gotten engaged and got married since I last filmed a proper podcast. So needless to say, I have been quite busy. We're not going to get too much into that because I have a little bit of a limited time here. I've been trying to film a podcast for probably a couple weeks now. It's just been so busy getting everything set up with the house and whatnot, because I've only been married for like 3 weeks at this point, so we're still kind of adjusting and arranging and getting things sorted out where we want them to be. It's been pretty busy. I decided that today I'm going to basically show you all of the current works in progress I have as far as knitting or crochet, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about a couple of sewing projects that I'm wanting to go ahead and start, and it should be good fun. I've got several projects to show you, and I've been very excited when I've thought about talking about them and sharing them. Let's go ahead and get started. The first couple of projects I'm going to show you are actually projects that have been in a little bit of a hibernation, and then I'm going to show you the ones that I've actually actively been working on recently, and that way I can kind of talk about them a little bit more. So the first one to show you is actually going to be a very long-term project, so that's why it's kind of sitting right now. Basically, this is my scrappy blanket. I'm sure you'll have seen a lot of them. They're either like crocheted granny stripe blankets or like cozy memory squares blankets, and I like both options, but I wanted something a little bit simpler. This is just a very basic garter stitch blanket. I'm increasing. I basically alternate increase rows, so I'll increase on one row, just knit one across, increase, knit one, increase, and so on and so forth. So it's basically a diagonal rectangle. Well, right now it's a triangle. And it's just gradually growing, and this is just, I've been just using up odds and ends and bits and pieces and scraps. And that's why right now I can't properly show you, because I'm mid-row. Waiting for the next little bit of, leftover bits and pieces. Because as you can see, some of these stripes in here are very, like this blue one, it's very narrow because it was just a little bit of yarn. And then other pieces like this multicolor or this orange, those wider chunks because I had a bit more of them. And this one's one of my favorites. It's just so pretty. And most of these are all my hand-dyed yarn that I've just, like I said, had left over from projects. So like this one, this orange one was from my wool and honey sweater, and then this colorful one was actually from a pair of socks that I knit for my little brother. And I just realized the sun has gone behind a cloud, so the lighting has gone all wonky on me. 2 seconds. There we go. That's a bit back to normal. And then just watch. The sun's gonna come out and I'm gonna have to fix it again. But, so this one is just a very, like I said, it's a long-term project. It just kind of grows when I end up having the scraps and leftovers to work on it. The next project is one that I did show on my last podcast episode that I did. I haven't spent much time on it recently, but I have worked on it quite a bit since I spoke about it. And this is I believe it's Maycroft. If it's wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen. By Libby Johnson of Truly Myrtle. And it's just a very beautiful shawl with alternating sections of garter ridges and lace. And once it's done, you get to put this beautiful fringe around the edges. And I absolutely love it. And it's kind of gotten put by the wayside because I've had a couple of other projects that I've been working on. I just haven't had the opportunity to pick it up in a little bit. First off, this color is just stunning, if I do say so myself. This is hand-dyed yarn. But it's just that perfect rusty orange that I have been all about recently. And here's a close-up of the stitches, so the garter ridges, and then this lace, which will block out beautifully. And it's a very simple lace pattern. And right now I'm in the second garter section, and then I believe there's one more lace section, and then it's basically done. When I get the chance, I will pick it up and finish it because I'm very, very excited to get it done. The other project I wanted to mention really briefly, I have definitely worked on this a bit. I have made a couple of like crafty project vlogs, and one of them I mentioned this blanket, and it's a blanket that I am making out of just an acrylic yarn from Michaels, and it's a single crocheted blanket, and it's getting there. It is going to be flippin' massive. Again, this is one of those ones that it's actually been living in my car for about 3 weeks because I stuck it in there right before the wedding, and then I haven't had the opportunity to get it out and work on it. It is going to be absolutely amazing and cozy and snuggly and warm, and I can't wait to work on it more. And also the lighting got even darker. Let's try this. Okay, that's better. That one it's just one of those ones, and the other part of it too is that I can only work on it when I'm at home because it's so large now. It is big enough to go over a queen size bed, and so it's that long but like that wide, and it just makes things a little bit difficult to work on it. I can't really work on it out and about anymore because I did do that for a while. I was able to take it places because there's no real pattern. I just basically single crochet across, and then when I run out of the one ball of yarn, I add a new ball of yarn in a different color, and it's a very, very simple thing to do. And so it was really great because it's very mindless. But again, it's gotten, and it is an acrylic yarn, which I love for blankets and things because you can just wash it, chuck it in the washer and dryer, and you don't have to worry about it. And it makes it so much easier to take care of it. And that does mean that it is very hefty because it's also got a very tight gauge to it. Because I hate blankets where you're like covering up and your toe pokes through the hole. So as you can see, like it is a very tight gauge for crocheting. I probably should have done it one hook larger, but I very much like the fabric that it's creating, so I'm not too bothered. Now on to the projects that I have been actually working on. The first one, I was actually working on it earlier today. It is actually a pair of socks. I have one done. It is in this really pretty self-patterning yarn, and then I have used Patton's Croy sock yarn in black, or I believe it's coal, for the heels, toes, and cuffs. And on the second sock, these have kind of languished for a little bit because I had worked the second sock all the way to the heel, and then I just hadn't done the heel portion. Well, I got the heel done and turned, and now I'm onto the foot. Other downside is I have realized that my heel turn, because Patton's Croy is thicker than your standard fingering weight yarn, when I did my heel, it's just too small, and so it's like, you're never going to be able to see that. So it's a very narrow amount, which works fairly well for any other socks that I have done, but just because Patton's Croy is thicker, it ended up making it much smaller. So on the second sock, I made it a much wider heel. Let's see if we can compare the two. It's so hard because they're both black, and black never shows up like you want it to. So this is the new one, and this is the old one. So as you can see, there's a significant difference, which means that I am going to have to rip out the majority of the sock and redo it, which is frustrating, but it's better to do it right than to just not wear it. Using for the pattern part, it is Wisdom Yarns, San Diego. It's a 75% wool, 25% polyamide in the color 255. So I got this in a yarn swap sale thing several years ago. It's been in my stash for a bit. Just wanted something kind of really fun and nice to make some socks with, so I decided to start using it. It's been really well, and it's 100 grams, and there will probably be enough to make Micah a pair of socks too, which is pretty solid. The next one is actually one that has been distracting me from my crochet blanket. And it is this bundle of beautiful snuggly coziness, and it appears on between in the middle of a row, which is to be expected because I was working on this at work, and so if you get a phone call you have to chuck it down and go for it. So this is a blanket which is actually turning out bigger than I expected, but that always happens. You cast on the stitches and it's so hard to know because when you first knit the few rows, it doesn't properly show you how long it's gonna be, and then you keep going and you're like, oh, okay. It turns huge. This was actually inspired by a blanket that was at the Airbnb we stayed at on our honeymoon. And it was a lovely navy blue, just garter stitch. It was a store-bought blanket, and I saw it and we just both kind of fell in love with it. We were like, wow, this is such a nice blanket. It was perfect for like one person. You can snuggle up underneath. It was lovely. So we went by Michael's and grabbed some, need more, Lion brand Heartland yarn in the colorway Sakura, I believe is how you pronounce it. And this is just a worsted weight yarn, 100% acrylic. It is absolutely lovely. Working with it, I am now like desperate to make myself a sweater. It comes in a bunch of beautiful colors. It is so soft and squidgy and has just this elastic feel to it, and I absolutely love it. I'm using size 7 needles because again I wanted a very nice snug tight gauge, and it is just knitting literally. I did start it with a 1x1 twisted rib, which I did for, I don't know, maybe 10 rows here at the bottom. And I'm going to do it again on the other side once it gets long enough. Whoops, we are losing stitches. Because it's gotten to the point where, oh, my stitches want to slide off. I believe I did 200 stitches long. I don't remember off the top of my head. I kind of sort of generally based it off of the blanket that was there, and I counted across the stitches on it, and it was about 200, and or maybe it was a little more. I don't remember. It was somewhere around there, the number of stitches that I decided to do. But so far it's been absolutely lovely. Again, it's very mindless, very brainless. It is getting to the point where it is more difficult to work on it when I'm out and about. And here comes the sun back. And I am just about out of my third skein of yarn, so I will need to go and get some more. And then I'm also a little bit torn as to whether or not I want to do some color blocking and have like the brown and then maybe a green and maybe a blue, or even there's a mustard yellow and a rusty orange. Like, you should go and look at it because the number of colors that Lion brand has for Heartland yarns, it's just beautiful. There's a whole rainbow of colors and they're all absolutely lovely. So working on that, I have this in my Knit Picks tote bag that I got several years ago because it's outgrown all of my other project bags. Which that's the thing with that mammoth of a crochet blanket. It has long outgrown any potential storage bag. I would need like a basket. Okay, and then the last project that I have is a sweater. And this is actually technically it is a test knit. Whoops. And I am not going to try and pronounce her name because it is absolutely a beautiful looking name and I would feel awful if I ruined it, so I'll put it on the screen. Alright, so this is where I'm at so far. This is a sort of turtleneck cropped sweater, and I'm knitting it out of a DK weight yarn. The pattern is technically, it goes anywhere from DK up to like bulky weight yarn. Because I like my sweaters a little bit closer fitting than the pattern necessarily was designed for, I decided to go with the DK weight yarn, and then I used size 7, I believe, for the body, and then size 4 for the ribbing. And I'm actually on the bottom ribbing part. I'm doing it sort of magic loop. with a very, very long cable. You can see these green ends are my scrap yarn from my armhole. I'm using a very long cable, which is splendid because that means that I can stretch this all out here and then I can try it on. And so I tried it on and I realized that it was at the point that it was time for some ribbing. So we're doing that, and then it'll just be the sleeves left to go. I'm very excited about this. I've been wanting to make myself a few more sweaters, and so this is the first of many. Again, this is out of my hand-dyed yarn. It's just in this stormy, smoky, gray, blue color, and it's going to be so versatile, which I'm very, very excited about. And that's all of the knitting projects that I have right now, which is actually not as bad as I thought it was. I definitely am one of those people that will kind of get stressed out if I have too many. This sunlight. Seriously. If I have too many knitting projects on the go, it stresses me out and I feel kind of overwhelmed and I don't want to work on any of them. So I did think I had a few more going than I do, so that's good. 3 of them are blankets, so those are much more long-term projects. And then I actually have socks, a shawl, and a sweater. That pretty much rounds it all out. I did have a couple of yarn purchases that I wanted to show you. I got them kind of over the Thanksgiving weekend when I had to run to the store for a couple other things. They kind of came home with me because, well, they've come at various times. One of them's for a present, and then the other 2, they're definitely for me. Gotta fix this slide again. The first 2, I actually got these when I had to go to the store to get more of the Patton's Croy sock yarn in the black in order to finish those socks. Because I'd had like a leftover from making Micah a pair of socks a while ago, and I was using that for the heels and toes, and it looked so good with it. Even though I knew I was gonna have to go and get more, I was like, it matched too well. So while I was grabbing it, I saw these, which I've never seen before, and this is Mani Petty by Lions Brand, and it's these really pretty like sock yarns. They're 75% wool, 25% polyamide, and I got 2 of them because they're only 50-gram balls, and they're very inexpensive. They were on sale the day that I got them. I don't remember how much they were. I think they're normally like $5 a piece or something. Like, it's not very expensive at all, which is why I grabbed it, because I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I've never seen this before. So I don't know if it's a recent thing they've come out with, or if they've had it for forever and I just have been out of the loop. But I got these and I'm pretty sure they're going to be my next socks, but we will see. I got those. Then I was at Hobby Lobby looking for Christmas decorations because obviously it's Christmas time. And I grabbed these yarns. This is actually for a Christmas present, so it's not technically for me, so it basically doesn't count. And this is just the Hobby Lobby's soft and sleek low pill fiber, 100% acrylic, and it's in this really, really nice green. And I actually need to get this cast on maybe today. I'm not sure. It is my brother's birthday today, so we're going over to my parents' house, which means I may or may not have time for that. But so this is a Christmas present. And then I did get myself something. Hobby Lobby has these, I guess, I don't know, mini sets that they have. And I have looked at them and looked at them, and I've wanted to get some. And I'm not sure exactly what I would make out of it, but I was just there and all the yarn was 30% off. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself just a little bit. I've wanted these for absolutely ages, and now feels like a good time. So this is called Fridays in Florence, and it's got 6 different colors, and I realized that this would make a very, very pretty shawl if I combine it with another like neutral color. So that's probably what's going to happen with it. Either that or maybe like a stripy sweater if I combine it with another color. I'm not 100% sure yet. But it is 60% acrylic, 20% wool, and 20% nylon. So, and it's just all these very beautiful jewel tone autumn shades. And that's the tag. There's my focus. Yeah. And it's really very inexpensive again for yarn. This episode needs to be called The Lighting Troubles. But, yeah. That's that one. And then that's actually all of the yarny stuff that I have to talk about. I did want to talk a little bit about a couple of sewing projects that I'm planning to get started with, so we'll move on to that now. Okay, so actually, two fabrics I want to talk about, and these are both from Minerva, which, by the way, Minerva recently, I have been working with Minerva for about, oh goodness, probably almost 5 years at this point. 4 years? Yeah, I think it's actually 4 years. And they recently updated, it was actually the weekend of the wedding, which I felt so bad about because I wanted to participate more in the launch than I was able to, but wedding and honeymoon and all of that, and so it was fine. But they updated their website and they made it so beautiful. It's almost like it's a craft store and social media in one, and it is stunning. Like, as someone who has worked on website stuff, the amount of work that had to go into there, I just it's insane. Anyway, I have a few fabrics from them that from Minerva that I'm gonna be making into some dresses and whatnot. And I'm actually in the process of working on one now. If you've been watching any of my Vlogmas videos, you'll probably have seen it. It's this beautiful, stunning fabric from Atelier Brunet or something. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's this beautiful fabric company. They make some of the most gorgeous fabrics, and I have very much longed to get my hands on it for a really long time. And so then I was able to get some in this gorgeous mustardy color, and I've been working on a dress out of that. However, I'm at a little bit of a, I guess you say, an impasse with it, because I want to kind of rethink how I was planning to do it. I need to let it like kind of brew for a little bit, set it over to the side and think about it. And so while that's happening, I wanted to work on some other projects. So first off, I've got this absolutely, cannot tell you how dreamy this fabric feels. It's almost like a cotton, it's like it has the feel in the hand of like cotton, but it's so soft and so like light, and just, it is stunning. And it's got these beautiful big flowers on it, and I love it. It is gorgeous. So I've got this one, and then I have Liberty of London fabric. Like, guys, Minerva sells Liberty of London fabrics, and I got some. I don't know, as somebody who has been in and out of the sewing community for years, anybody who has read blogs or watched podcasts or anything like that, like, Liberty of London fabrics is just, it's one of those like holy grail of the sewing community fabrics, and I have wanted some for such a long time. And now I have some. And I realized that as my birthday is coming up in just under 3 weeks, that this would make a very appropriate birthday dress. Because I'm turning 25, and so it's an extra special birthday because it's going to have a 5 in it. And I love 5s. And so I'm thinking about how to use this as my birthday dress. So I have a couple of different options for patterns that I want to use. I was thinking about, for that gray one, to use the Deer and Doe Magnolia dress pattern. It's just this very beautiful, this way, there we go, dress. It would be this one, but maybe with these sleeves, because I am all about like the kind of bell-shaped sleeves these days. I think it would just be stunning. My only concern is the fact that it is a wrap top. And I have not had much success with wrap tops. They're not my favorite because the way that my bust is arranged or whatnot, I just haven't been able to figure it out. So that's my only concern with using this pattern. Another pattern that I was thinking about, is the Deer and Doe Belladonna dress. it's a very, very simple dress. I would honestly probably just use the bodice portion of it and swap out the bottom for a circle skirt or a half circle skirt. Those are a couple of options that I've been thinking about. I also may or may not have splurged slightly and gotten myself several of the Deer and Doe patterns over the Black Friday sales, which we will talk about in another video. I'm planning to do some Black Friday haul videos, just a couple actually, because it's really just knitting patterns and sewing patterns that I got. I'm thinking about one of those patterns for these dresses because I would like to go ahead and get it cut out and started here pretty quickly. They're just so beautiful. And the other thing too is I made my own wedding dress and it was lovely. It turned out just the way that it needed to, but it was a pain to sew. It was just, the fabrics were so delicate and catching on everything and stretch lace, and it was a headache. It was exactly what I wanted it to be, and it turned out beautifully. But I'm feeling the need to kind of cleanse my palette to a degree and work with simple fabrics. And this is like a cotton lawn, like the dreamiest, most buttery of cotton lawns, but still it's cotton lawn, which is like so much easier to work with than satins and stretch laces and organza and taffeta. The things I do to myself. I am really, really excited about it. I want to make something very simple and pretty with a nice full skirt that I can wear in the summertime, but I can also wear now in the wintertime with some black tights and a cardigan, which is how I wear most of my dresses in the wintertime. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I had to talk about today. Let's see. Oh, Vlogmas, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I have been doing Vlogmas this year, which I've been really enjoying. Oh, it feels so good to be back into videoing and editing everything, and I've really loved it. Just doing short little videos with, you know, the music and everything, and it's so fun. I have been doing that, which I will put a link to my Vlogmas playlist down below, and then probably up in a corner somewhere here. I think other than that, that's all that I wanted to talk about, and I am hoping to do podcast episodes probably once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. I'm not quite sure yet. It depends upon my scheduling and whatnot. I'm not gonna try and be too strict with myself, I guess. But I have definitely, now that the wedding's over and everything, I can kind of pick back up on all of the creative things that I've been wanting to do for so long. And I've been working on updating my website and just kind of upgrading my whole setup. I've got a light kit that I can use now so I can film in the evenings. That's the other thing too, is that I just haven't been able to film the podcast because it gets dark so early and I don't get off work until 5 o'clock and it's already pitch black outside by then. There's no hope of it, but I got a light kit so I can do that. I got a clip-on microphone so that I can use my phone to do some vlogging while I'm out and about and the audio will still be good. And yeah, I'm really excited. I've got so many things that I'm wanting to work on and things that are coming down the pipelines, vlogs that I want to film, but I'm so glad to be back and to have filmed another podcast episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you would like to, you can like and subscribe below. And then you can follow me over on Instagram. I post there pretty consistently. And then again, my website. Just popped my finger. Probably sounded weird. So thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today, and I hope that you guys are really enjoying the Christmas festive spirit this year. I know it's been crazy, but it's Christmas time and I'm really excited to be able to celebrate that, and I hope all of you are too. And so yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful few days until I see you again, and I will see you next time. Bye!